Hello, students. I hope you are all doing good. So, our today's topic is electromagnetic induction, NCRT section 6.4, example 6.2 and 6.3. This is the disclaimer. Learning objective. After this lecture, you will be able to understand Faraday's law of induction and dependence of EMF on magnetic flux. Okay, basically, we are going to discuss Faraday's law of induction today. Okay, so based on the observations and conclusion that we have seen in our previous lecture from the three experiments that Faraday and Henry has conducted. So what were these three experiments? Let's have a quick recap. That first experiment was there is a coil connected to a galvanometer. Okay, and there is a bar magnet, and we are moving bar magnet towards the coil and away from the coil. Okay, so there was a deflection in the coil. When we move the north pole of the coil towards the north pole of the bar magnet towards the coil, then the galvanometer shows deflection in one direction. When we move this coil away from the, when we move north pole away from the coil, then deflection will again be shown by the galvanometer, but the direction of the deflection will be in the opposite direction. Okay. Similarly, we will repeat this thing with the south pole. Okay. And south pole will give the opposite direction for similar movements. Now, in experiment 6.2, we discussed we have replaced the bar magnet with the current carrying solenoid, which will act as a bar magnet. Okay, so result will be same again. And in third case, 6.3, setup is somewhat changed. In the place of bar magnet, or we can say current carrying coil, we replaced it with the coil carrying current and a tapping key. Okay, so we concluded from that last experiment that if we tap the key and current start flowing, so to establish a steady current, there will be small time in millisecond or microseconds to bring the current from zero to maximum. There is some time interval, very small time interval. Due to this time interval, current is changing, so magnetic field will be changed, and magnetic flux linked with the coil that is connected to the galvanometer will change. Okay, so due to this magnetic flux change, current or EMF will be induced for a very short time, for a momentary. There will be momentary deflection in the galvanometer. Okay. So these three experiments we have discussed yesterday, and magnetic flux also. And based on these three experiments and based on these conclusions, now there is a Faraday law of induction we are going to study today. Okay, so NCRT section 6.4, Faraday law of induction. Then we are going to do example 6.2 and example 6.3 of NCRT. So let's begin. So what is the objective? To understand Faraday's law of induction and formula of electromotive force. So what is electromotive force? We have discussed in current electricity chapter also, EMF. Okay, it is a voltage across a battery when there is no current being drawn from the battery. Okay, or there is no resistor across the connected across, or any component connected across the battery, means no current is being drawn from the battery. So that potential difference across the terminal of battery is known as EMF. Okay, now we are going to discuss the EMF that is being induced due to the change in magnetic flux. So we are going to use EMF in the entire chapter, in this chapter. Okay, so the concept that of battery or any component connected to the terminals of battery is not there. Okay, generally we are only talking about the potential difference creator, or we will simply noted it as electromotive force. Okay, EMF is induced, or if EMF is induced, we can say that current is also induced. Okay, EMF or electromotive force will be used in the entire chapter. Okay, to understand Faraday's law of induction and formula for EMF. So from these experiments, from these three experiments, from his experiments, Faraday concluded that due to change in magnetic flux and electromotive force, EMF is induced in the coil. Okay, we have seen there is a deflection in the galvanometer when there is a magnetic flux change linked with the coil. Okay, So the current is due to, okay, why there is a induced current? Due to the induced EMF. EMF is induced across the coil. Okay, due to this induced EMF, charges start flowing from higher potential to lower potential. Okay, on the one side of the coil, there is positive potential. On the other side of the coil, there will be negative potential. Due to this positive, negative, and a difference in potentials at both ends, and we can say EMF, due to this generated induced EMF in the coil, charges start flowing from higher potential to lower potential. Okay, and we can say current is induced. Okay, EMF is induced, due to which current is induced. So we can use these terms interchangeably. We can say EMF is induced, or we can say current is induced. Okay, however, there are some cases when EMF is induced but current is not induced. Okay, there may be some cases also, but generally, if EMF is induced, then current is also induced. Okay, so induced EMF generates electric current in the coil. So EMF is generated, due to which electric current is generated in the coil also. Based on his experiments, Faraday formulated a fundamental law of electromagnetism. Okay, so this is the fundamental law in the electromagnetism, first law based on the observation of Faraday and Henry. So which is known as Faraday law of induction, or we can say Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Okay, so what is the Faraday's law of induction? Magnitude of induced EMF in a circuit is equal to the rate of change of magnetic flux through the circuit. Okay, so what is the magnitude? Faraday only gave magnitude of EMF. Okay, it doesn't give the direction of current in the coil or polarity of induced EMF. That polarity, or we can say direction of induced current, that in which direction current is flowing in the coil, that direction, sense of direction was given by Lenz. Okay, we are also going to study in our upcoming lectures that what is Lenz law, or we can say Faraday's Lenz law as combined. Okay, so magnitude of EMF was given by Faraday and polarity of EMF was given by Lenz. Okay, both are names of scientists. Okay, Faraday law of induction is only for magnitude. So magnitude of induced EMF in a circuit is equal to the rate of change of magnetic flux. What is rate of? Means change of magnetic flux with respect to change in time. Means for what time interval magnetic flux is changed. Okay, for how many time magnetic flux is changed. So rate of change of magnetic flux through the circuit. So mathematically induced EMF is given by epsilon. That is the term used for EMF. Okay, that is the notation for EMF, or we can use small e also. But small e is also used for charge on the electron. That's why we are using a specific symbol epsilon. Okay, if I would say E in place of epsilon, it also means EMF. Okay, so don't get confused. So induced EMF is equal to minus d phi b upon dt. So what is this phi b? Magnetic flux. And what is this d phi b? This is change of magnetic flux, and upon dt, which is change in time interval, small change in time interval. So d phi b upon dt is rate of change of magnetic flux. And negative sign is also there. But Faraday law is only for magnitude. This complete law, epsilon is equal to minus d phi b upon dt. It is Faraday's Lenz law, enhanced law. Okay, so this minus sign, why this minus sign is there? This was explained by Lenz law, or we can say Faraday's Lenz law. Okay, so Faraday law of induction is only indicating magnitude, which is equal to d phi by dt. So mark it as 6.3 equation. Negative sign indicates the polarity of the EMF, hence the direction of current in the circuit, which is determined by Lenz law. Induced current or induced EMF opposes the cause due to which it produces. Okay, what this phrase meant, that the induced current in the coil or induced EMF in the coil, it will oppose the cause that is producing it. Okay, due to the relative motion of the magnet or current carrying coil, EMF is inducing, and this EMF will oppose that relative motion. How it will oppose that relative motion, we are going to discuss in Lenz law. Okay, which is determined by Lenz law. It is also written. So in Lenz law, we are going to discuss how that induced EMF or current is going to oppose the cause. What is the cause? Relative motion. How it is going to oppose the relative motion between the magnet and coil connected to galvanometer. Okay. So direction of current or EMF will be that it will oppose the cause that is producing it. That's why negative sign is there. Okay, for a closely wound coil of n turns, if coil is consisting of n turns, the total induced EMF is the sum of EMFs in the individual turns. Okay, so in one turn, suppose epsilon EMF is induced. So for n turns, we have to multiply the formula with n. That means that is the sum of EMF induced in the n turns. Okay, so total induced EMF will be the sum of EMFs in the individual turn. So it can be represented as that. So epsilon equal to minus d phi b upon dt was EMF induced in one turn. And if there are n turns in the coil, then multiply the formula by n. So mark it as 6.4 equation, where phi b is the flux linked with the single turn of the coil. Okay, so phi b is the flux linked with single coil. So we can also say that we can also represent flux in the terms of n number of turns. Okay, so we can say phi b is the flux linked with the single turn of the coil, and flux linked with the n turns of the coil will be, what is the flux linked with the single turn of coil? B vector dot A vector. Okay, which is BA cos theta. If flux linked with the n turns of coil to be found, then we have to apply the formula with n. So flux linked with the n turns will be equal to NBA cos theta. Got it? Okay. So if we are multiplying the flux with n, then EMF can be found using minus d phi by dt. We don't have to multiply EMF with n if we are using n number of flux for n number of turns. Okay, but if we are calculating flux for only single turn, then to find the EMF in all the turns, we have to multiply the formula by n. Okay, so either you can multiply this n in the EMF formula, or either you can multiply this n with in the flux formula. Okay, but you can't multiply this n in both to calculate the EMF, and you can't multiply this n in both. You can't multiply in flux also, and then when you are going to calculate the EMF, you can't multiply n in the formula again. Okay, so it will result in inaccurate answer. So there are two examples after this theory section. So we are going one example is done using multiply n in the final formula of EMF, and one example is done by multiplying n in the flux equation, and then we are going to find the EMF without multiplying by n. Okay, both methods are given in the example we are going to do. Okay, it will be clear then. So mark it as 6.4 equation. Now induced EMF E in the circuit is given by E equal to, for one turn. Now we are discussing about one turn. So EMF is equal to minus d phi b. Phi b means magnetic flux. Okay, if we are writing phi, it is also meaning magnetic flux. Okay, so B is denoting here that it is magnetic flux, not electric flux. Okay, so epsilon is equal to minus d phi b upon dt. So magnetic flux is also given. Magnetic flux for a single turn coil is phi b equal to B vector dot A vector equal to BA cos theta. Okay, now this EMF is dependent on the change of flux. How we can change the flux? You can see in the formula. If we are changing the magnetic field, then flux will be changed. Okay, then EMF will be induced. We have to change the flux. So how we can change the flux to induce EMF? By changing magnetic field. Secondly, by changing the area of coil. And third, by changing the orientation. Okay, by changing the magnetic field, we are going to discuss all these cases. by changing area is not significantly possible because coil has fixed area. We cannot change it again. Okay, we can change the magnetic field, or we can change magnetic field passing through the coil. Okay, so we are going to discuss the motional EMF also. Okay, which is based on changing the magnetic field, or we can say changing the area. Changing the area means we are not going to change the area exactly. We are going to change the area through which magnetic field is passing. Okay, so when we are going to do motional EMF, it will be clear that how we are changing the area without actually changing the area, but we are changing the area that is lying in the magnetic field region. Okay, so we are changing the region where magnetic field is there. Okay, and changing the orientation of the coil with respect to magnetic field. That thing we have done in the moving charges and magnetism. A coil, torque on a coil. Coil is rotating in the magnetic field. We are changing the orientation of the coil with respect to magnetic field. And that principle, changing the orientation, induce EMF by changing the orientation, is the principle of AC generator. In AC generator, there is a revolving coil. So we are changing the orientation of the coil with respect to magnetic field, due to which EMF is induced and current is produced by the AC generator. That is the principle of AC generator. Okay, so this is the thing you should remember in the entire chapter, that EMF can be changed by changing the magnetic flux, and magnetic flux can be changed by changing magnetic field, area, or orientation. Okay, so where B is the magnetic field, A vector is the area vector, and theta is the angle between magnetic field and area vector. So induced EMF can be produced. So EMF can be induced by changing magnitude of magnetic field B, or magnitude of area A vector of the coil, or we can say angle theta between the field B vector and area vector A. So this angle theta changing means changing the orientation. So this is the principle of AC generator. Okay, so these two things we are only also going to discuss. Okay, how we are going to discuss step by step that how we are going to change the magnetic flux through changing the magnetic field. And these two things are given in detail, changing the area and changing the orientation. Okay. Okay, let's do the example. This is not your NCERT example, but it is very good example to make you understand the topic so that your concepts will be clear. Okay, so this is the example. Consider a coil of wire with 100 turns, each of area 0.02 meter square. Okay, the magnetic field normal to the plane of coil changes from 0.1 Tesla to 0.5 Tesla in 0.1 second. Okay, so N is given 100 turns. Secondly, each turn is having area 0.02 meter square. Okay, magnetic field normal to the plane of the coil. Now magnetic field is changing. Okay, in what time? 0.1 Tesla to 0.5 Tesla. In what time? 0.1 second. Okay, initial magnetic field is 0.1 and finally is 0.5. So when we are going to calculate the change in flux, now area is constant, orientation is also constant. What is changing? Magnetic field. So we are changing the magnetic flux by changing the magnetic field. First method is being used. Okay, and in time 0.01 second. So dt is 0.1 second, and d phi is dBA cos theta. Cos theta is constant. Also A is constant. It will come out of the D, and in D it will be left with dB. So magnetic field dB by dt. Okay, so calculate the induced EMF. Let's see. So this is a diagrammatic representation of what is given. There is a circular wire. There is a coil having 100 turns. It is you can see in the diagram there is only one turn. Okay, we cannot make the 100 turns, but this is the type of coil and it is consisting of 100 turns. Let's suppose. Okay, so this is the area vector normal to the plane of coil and outwards. This is the direction of magnetic field. Magnetic field is also normal to the plane of coil. normal to the plane of coil means magnetic field is parallel to this area vector. Means theta is in this problem is 0 degree. Okay. A coil having area vector A vector and placed in normal magnetic field B vector. Okay. Now, what is given? Number of turns N equal to 100. Area A is equal to 0.02 meter square. Time interval delta T, it is given 0.1 second. Because time interval is not so small, not so small, so it is delta T is being used. Okay, if time period is very small, then in place of delta T, it will be dt. Okay. And also magnetic field is changing by a large magnitude 0.1 to 0.5. It is not very small. Okay, so we are going to use delta B. Okay. So time interval delta T is 0.1 second. Initial magnetic field will be B initial will be 0.1 Tesla. Final magnetic field B in final will be 0.5 Tesla. Also field is normal to the coil as shown in the figure. So theta is 0 degree. Okay, we are considering theta between A vector and B vector. A vector is already perpendicular to the plane. Magnetic field is also perpendicular to the plane. Okay, so theta between A vector and B vector will be 0 degree. So magnetic flux phi B through the coil is. So magnetic flux will be phi B equal to B vector dot A vector, which is BA cos theta. And BA theta here is 0 degree we have seen. So cos 0 degree is 1. So phi B will be equal to BA. So this is the magnetic flux through the coil. Now we have to calculate the initial magnetic flux and final magnetic flux so that we can take the difference of magnetic flux and find the EMF, because cos theta 0 degree is 1. Okay, so initial flux phi initial is equal to, now what is the magnetic flux we have calculated? BA. Okay, in this case, so phi initial will be B initial into A. This is not cross product, this is magnitudes, so B into A. Okay, so phi initial is equal to, what is B initial? 0.1. What is area of the coil? 0.02 meter square. So phi initial will be 0.002 Weber. So Weber is unit of magnetic flux, which is Tesla meter square also. Okay. Now final flux will be equal to phi final equal to B final into A. So phi final will be final magnetic flux will be 0.5, which is B final, into 0.02, which is area of the coil. That is fixed, not changing. Only magnetic field is changing, which is equal to 0.01 Weber. So what is change in flux? So we have to calculate the change in flux. Now we will subtract phi final minus phi initial. Okay, so delta phi B, which is change in magnetic flux, equal to phi final minus phi initial. So phi delta phi B is equal to, what is phi final? 0.01 minus 0.002, which is equal to 0.008 Weber. So this is the change in flux. Okay, what is the we have to calculate the induced EMF. Okay, applying Faraday's law to find the magnitude of EMF. Now we are not concerned with direction of EMF here. Okay, so in Faraday's law only magnitude is given. Okay, so we have to calculate the magnitude only. Okay, it is not also magnetic field direction is not specified, that in which direction that magnetic field is there. Only it is specified that magnetic field is normal to the plane. Okay, so if magnetic field direction is not specified, we will take magnetic flux field direction in the direction of area vector. Okay, so we can't determine the polarity or direction of induced EMF accurately. So we are only going to find the magnitude of induced EMF. Okay, so we are applying mod here. So epsilon mod will be N mod delta phi B upon delta T. Okay, minus sign is not there. So epsilon mod is equal to what is number of turns 100 into what is change in magnetic flux 0.008 upon what is change in time. So in what time magnetic flux field is changing? In 0.1 second. So 0.1. Okay, after solving it, it will result in epsilon mod magnitude of EMF is equal to 100 into 0.08 volt. Okay, so magnitude of induced EMF will be equal to 8 volt. Understood? Okay, now in this example that we have done, we have multiplied the formula of EMF with n, but we have found out the magnetic flux of single turn. We have found out the initial magnetic flux and final magnetic flux of single turn. And later on, when we were going to calculate the EMF produced in all turns, net EMF produced, so we multiplied it with number of turns. Okay, in 6.3 example, we are going to do in a different way. Okay, then I will explain it. Okay, second example 6.2. A square loop of side 10 centimeter and resistance 0.5 ohm is placed vertically in east to west plane. Okay, there is a east to west plane. Okay, and this square loop is placed vertically, means along the axis. You can assume an axis that is connected east to and west direction, and that square loop is passing vertically to that axis. Got it? That square loop is passing vertically to that axis and containing that axis. Okay, and it has resistance 0.5 ohm and side of 10 centimeter. A uniform magnetic field of 0.1 Tesla is set up across the plane in the northeast direction. The direction of magnetic field is across the northeast direction. Okay, and magnitude of magnetic field is 0.1 Tesla. Okay, now you can assume that this square loop is in vertical to east west plane and its area vector will be in north direction. Okay, or you can say south direction. Okay, but we are considering it which is nearer to magnetic field. Magnetic field is in northeast direction, so area vector will be in north direction. Okay, so magnetic field is decreased to 0. Magnetic field is initial magnetic field is 0.1 Tesla and it is decreased to 0. Okay, in 0.7 second at steady rate. What is steady rate? Means in equal interval of time, equal magnetic field is being decreased. Okay, in 0.1 second, seventh part of the magnetic field will be decreased. Similarly, for another 0.1 second, another seventh part of the magnetic field will be decreased. So same amount of magnetic field will decrease in equal interval of time. That is called steady rate, decreasing at steady rate, or we can say changing of any quantity at a steady rate. Means same amount is changing in same equal interval of time. Got it? At steady rate, we are changing magnetic field from 0.1 Tesla to 0. Determine the magnitudes of induced EMF and currents during this time interval. So we have to calculate induced EMF and induced current. So there is a diagram also, okay, for your better understanding. So you can see this. This is dashed line. This is passing through that square loop, which is perpendicular to this east-west. This east-west plane, this is perpendicular to east-west plane, this square loop. Okay, so follow my cursor. This is the loop. This is the loop. Follow my cursor. This is the loop. This loop is perpendicular to east-west plane. Okay, and its area vector will be in north direction because it is perpendicular to east-west direction. So area vector will be perpendicular to this plane, which is in the north direction. This red color, area vector. This A vector is of this loop. This loop. Okay, so this is in the direction. So this is 3D diagram. Actually, we are representing it is in 2D. That's why some slanted orientation is there. Okay, so north direction is there. It is vertical and its area vector is in north direction. Got it? Now, this slanted area, this slanted plane, it is the plane. Which plane is this? Or this is northeast. This is the plane containing northeast direction. Okay, so this is the plane which is parallel to east west, or we can say parallel to the, or we can say containing northeast direction, containing the direction of magnetic field. This plane, this slanted plane, is horizontal. This plane is perpendicular to this other plane. First plane is which is vertically in east west direction. Okay, this is the plane, and this dashed line is represented for this plane. Okay, now this slanted plane, somewhat tilted plane, that is horizontal and perpendicular to the first plane. Okay, that is containing the direction of magnetic field, and direction of magnetic field is in northeast direction. Area vector is having direction in north, and this magnetic field is having direction in northeast. Okay, we know that angle between north direction and northeast is 45 degree. So theta is here 45 degree. So figure showing a square loop having area vector A placed in uniform magnetic field B vector. So what is given? Side of the loop which is equal to 10 centimeter, 0.1 meter. Resistance is given R equal to 0.5 ohm. So resistance of this square loop, this loop. Okay. Initial magnetic field, that is 0.1 Tesla. Final magnetic field is 0 Tesla. We are changing magnetic field to 0. Okay. Now time interval delta t is equal to 0.7 seconds. In which time we are changing this magnetic field? In 0.7 seconds. Area of the loop is, so we have to find the area to find the change in flux. So area of the loop will be A equal to L square, which is equal to 0.1 meter square, which is equal to 0.01 meter square. Angle theta between the area vector that is towards north and magnetic field that is toward northeast is 45 degree, this angle theta. Okay, as shown in the figure. So these things are given. Now, what is the initial flux? Okay, that is the method. That is the first method. Okay, when we are going to calculate the magnetic flux for one loop. Now, in this question also, there is only one turn. Number of turns is not given. That is considered as one turn. Okay, in this question, only one turn is given. So we, in one method that we have done in the previous example, we have calculated magnetic flux for one turn, like we are calculating here. So for one turn, phi initial is equal to B initial A cos theta. Theta is given cos 45 degree. B initial is 0.1 and area is 0.01. Okay, after putting the values, phi initial will be equal to 10 raised to power minus 3. Okay, after multiplying these, and cos 45 degrees 1 by root 2 Weber. We are not going to solve it further because it will be solved in the final expression. And what is the final flux? Final flux will be B final A cos theta. Now B final is 0. We are decreasing magnetic field to 0. So this final magnetic flux will be 0 because B final is 0. Okay. Now we are going to calculate the change in magnetic flux. So magnitude of EMF is given by, magnitude is given by mod phi delta B upon delta T. Okay. Now in first method that we had done in the previous example, if there are number of turns given, in this question it is not given. If there are number of turns given, that we have to multiply n in this expression. This is the first method. And what is the second method we are going to discuss in next example. So epsilon is equal to phi final minus phi initial upon delta T. So what was the phi final? 0. What was the phi initial? 10 raised to power minus 3 upon root 2. And what was the change in time? It is given 0.7 seconds. Okay. So epsilon will be equal to 10 raised to power minus 3 upon 0.7 into root 2. Okay. So after multiplying it, it will be nearly approximately equal to EMF will be approximately equal to 1 into 10 to the power minus 3 volt, which is we can write 1 millivolt. Okay, so induced current. Now we are going to calculate the induced current. So if EMF is known and resistance is also known, so induced current can be found. So induced current will be equal to EMF upon R. EMF is a voltage. So voltage upon R. Okay, so I will be equal to what is the EMF we have calculated? 1 millivolt. That is 1 into 10 to the power minus 3 upon what is the resistance? 0.5 ohm. So it will be I equal to 2 into 10 to the power minus 3 ampere. So I will be equal to 2 milliampere. This is the final answer. Okay. Now example 6.3. Now this example we are going to do in some different manner. I am going to explain step by step. A circular coil of radius 10 centimeter. Okay. 500 turns and resistance 2 ohm. Now 500 turns are given. And radius is given, resistance is given, is placed with its plane perpendicular to horizontal component of Earth's magnetic field. There is a Earth's magnetic field, horizontal component is there, which is horizontal to the surface, and this circular coil is placed in a plane perpendicular to the horizontal component. Okay. It is rotated about its vertical diameter. Okay. Diameter in the vertical direction. There is a horizontal direction in which magnetic field is there, and this coil is placed also perpendicular to the horizontal direction, and vertical axis is being considered, that is perpendicular to horizontal, and we are rotating this loop, circular loop, about its vertical diameter through 180 degree in 0.25 seconds. Okay, now in this question what we are going to change? Magnetic field, area, or orientation? We are not going to change the magnetic field, because Earth's magnetic field is constant over a surface, over a region. Okay, and area is also constant for this circular loop. We are going to change the orientation. We are rotating it through 180 degree in 0.25 seconds. Estimate the magnitudes of EMF and current induced in the coil. Horizontal component of the Earth's magnetic field at the place is given as 3 into 10 to the power minus 5 Tesla. So let's solve it. So this is the diagrammatic representation. Figure a coil having area vector A vector placed normal to the horizontal component of Earth's magnetic field B vector. Now this is the coil. It is placed vertically to the horizontal component of magnetic field. So magnetic field is horizontal, you can see in the diagram, and this coil is placed vertically. And this is the vertical axis that is shown in the dashed line. That is shown by a dashed line. So this is vertical axis. So about this vertical axis, coil is rotating like that. About its vertical axis in this direction. Okay. Now in B case, we have rotated this coil through 180 degree. So this side will go there, this side will go here. So direction of current will also change. Now in this side, magnetic field, current direction is, induced EMF is in this direction. Now when we rotate it, induced EMF will be changed. So direction will change also, induced current. So area vector will go there. Now we are rotating the loop. Initially, area vector is aligned along magnetic field. Now we have rotated it through 180 degree. So area vector will go exactly opposite to the magnetic. Got it? Now given radius is equal to 10 centimeter, that is equal to 0.1 meter. Number of turns is given, n equal to 500. Resistance R is given, R equal to 2 ohm. Magnetic field B equal to 3 into 10 to the power minus 5 Tesla. And time interval delta T is equal to 0.25 seconds. Okay, so area, we have to calculate the area of the loop to find the flux. So area will be A equal to, for circular loop, pi r square. So pi into 0.1 square, which is equal to 0.01 pi meter square. We are not putting the value of pi, we are going to put it in the final expression. Okay. So initially the plane is perpendicular to B. So the area vector is parallel to B. So initial case in figure A, area vector is parallel to B. So theta is equal to 0 degree. So theta initial is 0 degree. Okay. So phi initial. Now this is second method. We are not going to calculate this magnetic flux for one turn. This is the first method that we have done in the first example, that we are going to calculate the magnetic flux for one turn, and we are going to calculate initial flux and final flux for one turn. And then we are going to calculate the induced EMF for n turns, and we are going to multiply n in the expression of EMF. This is the second way to do it. We are going to multiply this n in the initial flux and final flux formula, but we are not going to multiply this n in the EMF equation. Okay, because when we are going to take the difference, this n will appear in the change in magnetic flux, and we don't have to put n again in the EMF equation. It will come eventually there. Okay, this is the second way of doing it. So we are multiplying n to find the initial flux NBA cos theta initial for n turns. Okay, so theta initial is 0 degree, cos 0 degree is 1. So phi initial is equal to NBA cos 0 degree. So phi initial will be equal to NBA because cos 0 degree is 1. After rotating 180 degree, the area vector is anti-parallel to B vector, that is figure B. Okay, so we are rotating it through 180 degree. So now area vector is exactly opposite to the direction of magnetic field. So angle is now 180 degree. So theta final will be equal to 180 degree. So phi final will be equal to NBA cos theta final for n turns. So phi final will be, magnetic flux final will be equal to NBA cos 180 degree. Cos 180 degree is equal to minus 1. So it will be minus NBA. So change in flux is delta phi equal to delta phi final minus phi initial. So delta phi will be equal to, what is phi final minus NBA. What is phi initial? NBA. This minus sign is of expression. So minus NBA is equal to minus 2 NBA. This is the change in magnetic flux. So induced EMF epsilon will be equal to minus d phi upon delta phi upon delta t. Okay, so this is equal to phi equal to epsilon. We are going to calculate the magnitude of EMF. Okay, so this minus and minus sign will get cancelled out eventually. So we don't have to apply the mod here. We can apply the mod also, but this minus and minus will get cancelled out eventually. Okay, so epsilon will be equal to minus. So what is the change in magnetic flux? Minus 2 NBA upon delta t. So minus minus will get cancelled out. It will result in positive value that we want here. So 2 NBA upon delta t. Now we are not using n in this expression of EMF because n appears eventually here. If we didn't use, if we wouldn't have used n in the expression of phi, then we have to multiply it with phi n here. Okay, so then magnetic flux would have been 2BA if we wouldn't have used n in the magnetic flux expression. Okay, then we have to multiply n in this expression, but we have used n in the magnetic flux equation, so we don't have to use here again. So it will come eventually here. Okay, so epsilon will be equal to, now put all the values, 2, what is n 500, what is b 3 into 10 to the power minus 5, what is a 0.01 pi upon what is the time interval 0.25 second. Okay, so epsilon will be equal to 2. So this is 0.25. So multiply 500 with 0.01, it will result in 5. Okay, so divide it by 0.25, it will result in 20. Okay, so 2 into 20 into 3 into 10 to the power minus 5 into what is pi 3.14. Okay, after solving it, it will result in epsilon equal to 37.7 into 10 to the power minus 4 volt. And we can shift this decimal. It will result in 3.77 into 10 to the power minus 3 volt. So which is approximately equal to 3.8 millivolt. Okay. Now induced current will I will be equal to epsilon upon R. So I will be equal to 3.8 into 10 to the power minus 3 upon 2. So divide it by 2. So it will result in 1.9 into 10 to the power minus 3 ampere, which is equal to I equal to 1.9 milliamp. Okay. So this is all about today's lecture, and this is summary. Faraday's law states that changing magnetic flux induces electromotive force in a coil. Induced EMF epsilon is equal to minus d phi b upon dt. For n-turn coil, epsilon EMF induced is equal to minus n d phi b upon dt. Magnetic flux phi b is equal to b vector dot a vector, which is equal to ba cos theta. Negative sign in EMF formula follows Lenz's law, that is induced current EMF opposes cause which produces it. EMF can be induced by changing magnetic field, changing area, or changing the angle theta between b vector and a vector. So there are some practice questions you have to practice yourself. If a coil has 50 turns and the rate of change of magnetic flux is 0.02 Weber per second, calculate the induced EMF. What is the magnetic flux when B equal to 2 Tesla? A is equal to, area is equal to 3 meters square and theta is equal to 60 degree. Third question, if the induced EMF in a circuit is minus 12 volt, what is the rate of change of magnetic flux? Fourth question, a coil with area 4 meters square is placed perpendicular to magnetic field of 3 Tesla. Calculate the magnetic flux. How much EMF will be induced if in a 100 turn coil, if the magnetic flux changes at a rate of 0.05 Weber per second? So this Weber per second, what is given? Rate of change of magnetic flux means d phi by dt is given. That's why unit is Weber per second. Okay, so thank you, but don't go anywhere. We have to do DPP. Okay. So first question, Faraday law of electromagnetic induction states that the induced EMF in a circuit is equal to. So please write answers in the comment section. So I will mark the option according to the answer that you are writing in the comment section. The rate of change of magnetic flux through the circuit. Okay, B option. Good. In a coil of n turns, if magnetic flux through each turn changes by delta phi b in time delta t, the induced EMF is. Which option is correct? There are n turns. Okay, C. Next question. A square loop is placed in a magnetic field. The induced EMF can be increased by decreasing the area of loop. We have to increase the induced EMF. Decreasing the area of loop, decreasing the rate of change of magnetic flux, increasing the number of turns, or keeping the magnetic field constant. Which option is correct? We have to increase the induced EMF. So what is the expression for EMF? Epsilon equal to minus d phi b upon dt and multiply by n. Yes, increasing the number of turns. Fourth question, a circular coil is rotated in a magnetic field. The induced EMF depends upon the initial magnetic flux only, the final magnetic flux only, the rate of change of magnetic flux, or the resistance of the coil. So induced EMF depends upon which option? Yes, C. In Faraday and Henry's experiment, when the key is held pressed after closing the circuit, it is based on 6.3 experiment that was using tapping key. So when the key is held pressed after the closing the circuit, the current in the coil connected to galvanometer C1 becomes 0 because the magnetic flux through C1 is constant magnetic flux through CA1 decreases, magnetic field in C2 becomes zero, or the galvanometer is disconnected? Yes, A. Because magnetic flux is not changing. Galvanometer is showing no deflection. That means magnetic flux is not changing through the coil. That means magnetic flux is constant. Okay. Magnetic field is not zero. There is some magnetic field line passing through C2. Only magnetic flux is not changing. And galvanometer is not disconnected. It is connected. But magnetic flux through C1 is constant. So A option. Okay. Well done. All the options, all the questions are correct. Okay. I hope you understood the lecture well. So thank you.